Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review Wednesday morning briefing, and more importantly, launch day on the 14th of July. I'm delighted to say we're joined by the top team, Johnny McFarlane, Joshua Barry, and myself, Derek Clark. Johnny, how are we doing?
Doing great. Excited to launch the website at some point today. We're not 100% sure on the time, but it will definitely be today. And we'll let everyone see what we've been working on.
Yeah, really looking forward to a lot of great stuff coming your way. Joshua, good to have you on. What's the plans for today? Looking forward to today?
Yeah, as Johnny said, I'm looking forward to today, getting some content out and putting some stuff out that we've been working on. But just an exciting day to really get launched, and I'm sure we're going to touch on that first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll touch on that just now, Johnny. The Rangers Review, of course, that newly launched website covering Rangers Football Club. Can you give us a little insight into what maybe people can expect to see in the coming days, weeks, and months?
Yeah, absolutely. What we're trying to do here is to give you a style of Rangers journalism that people actually like. So we're going to be focused on deep dive interviews, features, documentary podcasts. We've got one coming out later on today that was premiered last night on the YouTube channel, looking at the semi-final of the Scottish Cup in 2016, Rangers beating Celtic, and asking if that is the greatest Old Firm game and greatest Old Firm win actually of all time, based on the fact that Rangers won the Championship, Celtic were in the Premiership and champions at the time. So that's a deep dive with Mark Warburton, Davy Weir, several of the players at the time, including Barry Mackay, obviously, who scored that wonder goal. And we've got the fans' input too into that podcast. So it really is a bit of a labour of love, that. And that's the kind of thing that we're going to be putting out there to the world. But the main thing for the Rangers Review website is that there's going to be a lot of high-quality content going out every day. We've got some terrific columnists, but it's not going to be sort of what Ryan Kent might have said on Instagram, let's work out his cryptic post. It's going to be proper deep dive stuff, looking at in detail what's happening at the club. So hopefully that's something that people can buy into. We've got a really exciting slate of things to announce once the website launches that we can get our teeth into. But I for one think that there's going to be a lot of interest in the kind of stuff that we're going to be putting out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joshua is a tactical guru. We're really looking forward to some sort of tactical analysis pieces at some point through yourself. There's a great interest in that sort of stuff.
Yeah, rising interest. As Johnny says, it's just it's exciting from our point of view to be able to get behind a model that focuses on quality. There's so much to write about in regards to Rangers. So much happened last season, and I'm sure so much will happen this season. There's so many interesting facets of our play. So we'll have a few of those kind of pieces coming out over the next few days. But yeah, really excited about the website, about the brand, and looking forward to just getting started and what hopefully is another really successful for us and for the team.
Yeah,
just add to that, Derek. Just add to that. Obviously, anyone can come on and have a look at the content that we're doing on the website. It's available to anyone, but you only get 3 articles for free. After that, you can sign up and get another 5. You get 8 a month to have a look at. But after that, we're asking people to pay a subscription. It's only £1 a month for the first 6 months as a special offer. Why are we doing that? Why are we charging? Because that fee, that £1, allows us to have the time to spend to really do proper, detailed analysis of Rangers, whether that be statistical, tactical, in terms of sitting down with someone and really going through what they've said and not just looking for the most exciting and tabloidy style line. It'd be a detailed, long-form interview. Being able to do things like this in terms of video and have a completely different outlook when it comes to how we approach the match day, which will be unveiled obviously in the days and weeks ahead. To do all that, we need support, we need to build a community, and to do that, we need people to get involved and to pay that subscription. That's what we're looking to do. But we're absolutely, passionate about this model. It's the same model as the New York Times and the Athletic. People pay for their entertainment when it comes to things like Netflix, which I think a few years ago people would have said, no, you can just download things for free. But I think that's a change in society, and people understand now that if you want really good quality content, if you can pay a little bit for it, then that's a model that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely does. If you want quality Rangers coverage, then certainly it's worth the money. As Johnny says, it's as cheap as chips. And just keep your eyes peeled, folks, for the website launching a little later on. Let's talk about some of the news making the headlines this morning then with regards to Rangers. Let's talk about the Colts teams. First of all, that both Rangers and Celtic sides have had their appeal to join League Two rejected for the 2022-23 campaign. Of course, they're in the Lowland League as a sort of experimental season next season, but the plans for a restructure, if you like, of the SPFL has been knocked back on this occasion. Johnny, your thoughts on that? Do you think it's
disappointing, Derek? Really disappointing. And I'm a passionate advocate for the Colts, because anyone who's been a journalist for any amount of time has spoken to any amount of youth development people. They all say the same thing, and they all have been for years. And the thing that they keep saying is Scotland produces really good young players, but once they get to 16, they don't get game time. So you have this lost generation of Scottish players between 16 and 20 who are just not really playing the amount of games that are required to take them to that next level. You look at a lot of the players that have had success that have come through, just off the top of my head, look at James MacArthur and James McCarthy at Hamilton, who were thrown into that first team in the centre of the field very young and have gone on to have terrific careers in the Premier League. Part of that is because they had those 200 games by the time they were 20, when they might have just been breaking through at other clubs. Hamilton gave them that chance. And playing against men, learning how to problem solve, learning how to deal with the issues that you have to face in real men's football, not academy football. That's what makes players better. That's how they learn and develop. And I think if we want to have a really strong national team, if we want to start bringing through a lot of top quality young players, we need to find a way to get them in games against men. And that's why I've always been a supporter of the Colts. We used to have that back in the day with the Reserve League. We just don't have it now. But it's a complex one, Derek. There's no doubt about it, because there's good reasons why the lower league clubs are not interested in this. There's a lot of upset amongst the fans down there. They just feel that it would diminish their leagues. And I think that there's going to have to be either a financial or a PR exercise done around this whole issue to make sure that it can go through. I think that's really important. Because at the moment, every time this gets put forward, and it's been put forward a lot, it just seems inevitable that it's going to get rejected. Maybe it's a bit closer this time than it has been in the past, but I think ultimately it will happen. It's just a case of finding agreement.
Yeah, Joshua, can you understand what Johnny says? These community clubs, shall we say, the likes of Stenhouse Muir, and just using them as an example, the likes of Elgin City and what have you, they don't really want the likes of Rangers and Celtic youngsters coming into the league, maybe devaluing the competition. Can you see their sort of point of view?
Yeah, I mean, I share Johnny's frustration and disappointment. Looking at the quotes, it said that the combined set of proposals fell significantly short of the backing required. So in a sense, it actually doesn't seem that close, which is disappointing. So you have to wonder what the requirement would be for it to pass. And another little quote from the press release said, "The challenge now is to continue the discussions around the game on how we can maintain the momentum which resulted in Scotland's men teams qualifying for the Euros." And whilst that's true in football, the nation was very engaged with the team. I wouldn't say the performance left much to be desired apart from the game at Wembley. I think you've seen two smaller nations in Croatia. A smaller nation in Croatia and a similarly sized nation in the Czech Republic come to Hampden and beat us twice. So momentum, yes, but maybe not performances. And anything we can do that can make us a more elite level footballing country I would get behind. So disappointed, and it does seem that we're still a little bit short of getting that proposal through.
Yeah, Johnny, as Joshua says there, I mean, it doesn't look like we're anywhere close to getting the Colts in that real pyramid structure. I know they're in the Lowland League, but it's experimental. It doesn't bode well, does it? I mean, how do we change that? Do the SPFL maybe need to take it out of the club's hands?
Well, they can. The SPFL is the clubs. So ultimately, there's nothing that can be done there short of appointing a commissioner and putting them in charge of Scottish football and then judging them on their record, which I think is the way it should be done, to be honest. But that'll never happen. Ultimately, this is probably going to end up to being a financial decision, to be honest. I think it'll be about a level of quantum. And once Rangers and Celtic, who are the clubs obviously pushing this at the moment, reach a level of finances in terms of what they're paying out to facilitate this to happen, I think it will eventually happen. But clearly, the SPFL clubs are aware of the discontent that is out there. And you only have to look at Twitter. I mean, I think we've discussed this before amongst ourselves, and this is a really toxic issue. Whenever you bring it up, you tweet about it, and you're immediately seized upon by multiple people who will tell you how bad this idea is. So I do understand the Stenhouse Muirs and the Peterheads of this world who might go, our fans are really against this, so we're not that keen to see it happen. And I think ultimately it'll come down to a financial deal that will mean that it has to happen.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Let's move on then. Another talking point in the news today was the announcement from the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, yesterday. From the 19th, 2,000 fans allowed into Scottish football grounds. They can apply, of course, for more in each individual game basis. A lot of furore has surrounded this announcement. A lot of supporters using the Euros at Hampden as an example. Joshua, what's your standpoint on this? A lot of supporters unhappy at not getting more fans in the front door.
Yeah, but I mean, the Euro still had to go through an application process and prove that it was safe to have 12,000 people in Hampden. So I don't think it's, I think it's within the realms of possibility that more numbers could get into Ibrox. Remember as well, when the Euros had 12,000 admitted, 500 was the cap. Now 2,000 is the cap. So I don't know if that'll indicate that maybe more than 12,000 will be able to get in. But yeah, fingers crossed. 2,000 doesn't seem like a lot when you take into consideration the year and a half of lack of fans. But it'd be great to get as many in as possible really soon. But as I say, maybe it's just the headline looks bad with 2,000. Once the application process goes through, presumably for more fans, maybe it'll look a little bit better.
Johnny, a lot of fans were bringing up the case that you can have 2,000 in the Indodrill Stadium at Alloa and 2,000 at Ibrox. What's going on there?
I wish I could answer you that. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, there has to be, I think, a level of understanding that there is tiers in terms of the size of stadiums. I mean, how can you say that the Indodrill can hold the same as Ibrox? I mean, while we're on, I think Rangers have hit out actually at the decision to only have 2,000 fans attending Saturday's friendly against Arsenal. The club has said, following lengthy discussions with the Scottish Government and local authorities, Rangers have been granted permission to host 2,000 supporters at Saturday's friendly match with Arsenal. Season ticket holders who have access to all games at Ibrox will be given priority, with the balance being balloted amongst season ticket holders who are MyDares members and have enrolled in the home friendly scheme. Those who have been successful in the ballot will receive an email outlining Saturday's match. Rangers are disappointed that a small number of supporters being granted access, given the precedent which was set at the Euro 2020 matches at Hampden Park, as well as at other sporting events in Scotland, and the time it has taken to have the number of supporters confirmed by the Scottish Government. And listen, how can you argue with that? Rangers are spot on. I mean, how can they have 10,000 fans at Hampden weeks ago, and a couple of weeks ago, and now you're allowed 2,000? It's bonkers. And listen, there's no answer to it, because it's a political issue surrounding the Euros was why there were extra fans allowed in, I think, in my opinion. So it's not right. But the good news is, hopefully, fingers crossed, August 9th, everyone will be back. And I think everyone agrees it's a little ridiculous, the current situation. But it's going to be amazing that they having those fans back, and I just can't wait for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a shame. I mean, Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, I seen an interview with him last night, and it'd be great to see him back at Ibrox. It's just, I think even he said it was just a real pity that we can't get more supporters in the ground. It just seems absolutely laughable, considering, like you say, Johnny, over 12,000 at Hampden just a few weeks ago. Certainly, I can understand the supporters' anger with regards to that. Moving on then, another story that making the headlines today. It's no secret, of course, that Kenny McLean is a Rangers fan. He's stated his love that he'd love to come back up to Scotland at one point and play for the club. Joshua, Kenny McLean, would you have him?
I'd have him now. He's 29 now. His contract runs out in 2023, so I don't know how realistic it is that we sign him at that point. I think he's a good player. I think he'd fit domestically into he played further forward at Aberdeen than he does now for Norwich, and plays one of 2 6s when probably will play next to Billy Gilmore for part of next season at Norwich. I don't know how much that is just him desiring a move to Ibrox, because, as I say, I imagine he'll be 31 in 2023. I don't know if that is especially in 2 years, if that's the profile of player that we'd look to sign on a Bosman. But yeah, I like him as a player. I think for Scotland, he fulfills a role not dissimilar to what Kamara and Davies do, and they protect the fullbacks. And but yeah, 2023, I doubt Kenny McLean will sign for a stint.
Yeah, Johnny, I was a big fan of Kenny McLean when he was at St Mirren, when he and John McGinn were in the midfield. You just think to yourself that they could have been starring for both half of the old firm, but he's went to Aberdeen, he's went down south, and he's done well at Norwich, hasn't he? He's really impressed, and it's just disappointing we couldn't see him in a Scotland jersey this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I like Kenny McLean, and he's a good player, and I agree with everything Josh has said, but I think his time to come to Rangers has come and gone. You know, there was a lot of talk that Ali McCoy was interested in signing him when he was leaving St Mirren, and I think discussions did take place at that point. Then I think Pedro Caixinha liked the look of him when he was leaving Aberdeen to go to Norwich. You know, in the build up to his contract dwindling down, I think there was a bit of interest at that point. That for me was the time to get Kenny McLean. It's not now. I look at the Rangers midfield. I've got to be honest. Is he better than Glenn Kamara? No chance. Is he better than Ryan Jack? No. Is he better than Stephen Davis? No. You know, I just can't see where he gets into that team, to be honest. So yeah, I think unfortunately for Kenny, I think his time to visit Ibrox will be kept to being as a fan. Yeah, we'll watch this space. But it's been absolutely terrific having you on, boys. Johnny, thank you very much for coming on the morning briefing, and I'm sure just urging viewers and listeners and what have you just to keep their eyes peeled for the Rangers Review website launching a little later today. Absolutely. Just keep your eyes on everything that's coming up on Facebook. We're going to have tons coming on, and you'll find it all here, right here. Yeah, fantastic. Joshua, thanks very much for joining us. Pleasure. Cheers. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. Keep your eyes peeled, as Johnny says, and we'll join you for tomorrow's morning briefing tomorrow.